Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. And we will be presenting about translation and culture. Welcome to our presentation. Let's be excited about studying. And member of group 8, number 1, Fica Aisyafa Kaharantika, number 2, Ainun Uswatun C, number 3, Erna kartika sari, number 4, Decky prashadana, and the last, Muhammad Nanda pratama. Okay, in this video I want to explain about definition, translation, and culture. Newmark defines culture as the way of life and its manifestation. They are particular to a community that uses a particular language as its means of expression. Culture is the foundation of knowledge and humanity. A variety of diverse culture called cultural diversity. Cultural expression are words and phrase conditioned by the cultural diversity. There are some cultural categories to classify the cultural expression. Newmark divided cultural categories into 5. They are ecology, plants, animal, mountain, and then material culture, food, clothes, housing, transport. And next, social culture, work and leisure, and then organization, custom, ideas, political, social, and legal, gesture, and habit are non-linguistic features. Cultural issues also occur in translation. The cultural issues are the problem in understanding the concept and meaning of cultural expression. Some strategy in translation literacy work are used to have a better understanding in the concept and meaning of cultural expression. Okay, next slide. Cultural categories. Translation and the culture. Number 1, ecology. Flora, fauna, local winds, mountains. It might relate with flora, fauna, local mountain. Different culture will have different terms of them. Many countries have local words and these words will be translated based on their importance in the short language. Number 2, material culture or artifact. Food, clothes, housing, transport, and communication. You must divide this material culture or artifact into food. Food is for many the most sensitive and important expression of national culture. The function of the generic clothes term is approximately constant, indicating the part of the body that is covered. But the description varies depending on climate and material uses, house and town, and transport. Number 3, social culture. Work, leisure. Newmark divides social culture into 2 categories. They are work and leisure. Number 4, organization, political, religious, artistic, historical, and social term. And the last, number 5, gesture and habit.
Okay, I would like to explain about general considerations. First, your ultimate consideration should be recognition of the cultural achievement referred 2 in the SL text, and respect for all foreign countries and their cultures. 2 translation procedures, which are at opposite ends of the scale, are normally available. Transference, which usually in literary text, offers local color and atmosphere, and in specialist text enables the readership. Componential analysis is based on the component common to the SL and TL, say in the case of dacha, house, dome, to which you add extra contextual distinguishing component. For the wealthy, summer residence is secondary. Lastly, the translator of a cultural word, which is always less context-bound than ordinary language, has to bear in mind both the motivation and the cultural specialist in relation to the text topic and linguistic level of the readership. Next is ecology. Geographical features can be normally distinguished from other cultural terms in that they are usually value-free politically and commercially. Nevertheless, their diffusion depends on the importance of their country of origin as well as their degree of specificity. Thus, Plato is not perceived as a cultural word and has long been adopted in Russian, German, and English, but translated in Spanish and usually Italian. Messa, altipiano. Many countries have local words for plains, like prairies, steppes, tundras, pampas, savannas, llanos, campos, paramos, plus veld, all with strong element of local color. The same criteria apply to other ecological features unless they are important commercially. Consider pomelo, avocado, guava, kumquat, mango, passion fruit, tamarind. When they become more or less a lexical item in the importing TL, but not passion fruit, passiflora, passion fruits, and may be subject to naturalization. Mango, tamarind, avocado, aguacate, particularly as here in France. Thank you. That's enough for me. Next.
Okay, so here my topic of presentation. The first is material culture. Material culture is use recognize one-to-one translation, transference plus a neutral term, generic noun or classifier add, remind, and translate. There are examples such as food, clothes, houses, towns, and transportation. And material culture is like the example. In Indonesian, there are kebaya is the clothes for like traditional clothes from Indonesia, but in English that's called in Javanese clothes. And for the place in Indonesian called Istana Presiden, that means the place for president. And when in English the name is White House. So there is the differences between one country to another. The next is social culture. In considering social culture, one has to distinguish between the notative and connotative problems of translations. This culture use transference of one on one translation. For the example is the example of social culture is leisure. Newmark divides social culture into two categories. There are work and leisure. For work, in Indonesians called abdi dalam, but in English that is called waiters. For the leisure, in English, the sport it's called football, but in Indonesians that it's called sepak bola. So there is the explanation of social culture. For the next explanation would be add by my other friends. So thank you.
Okay, the next topic is gestures and habits. For gestures and habits, there is a distinction between description and function, which can be made where necessary in ambiguous cases. Thus, if people smile a little when someone dies, do a slow head clap to express warm appreciation, speed as a blessing. Not to resign or shake their head to assent. Kiss their fingers, tap to greet or to praise, give a thumb up to signal OK, all of which occur in some cultures and not in others. Summarizing the translation of cultural words and institutional term, I suggest that here, more than in any other translation problems, the most appropriate solution depends not so much on the collocations or the linguistic or situational context. Two cases have their place, as on the leadership of whom the three types export, educate, generalize, and uniformed will usually require three different translations. And on the setting, I have attempted to indicate the alternatives below. And then the next is summary of procedures or culture, way of life and its manifestations peculiar to one's speech community. Number 1, ecology. There are animals, plants, local winds, mountains, plains, ice, etc. Number 2, material culture or artifact. There are foods, clothes, housing, transport, and communication. Number 3, social culture, work and leisure. Number 4, organization, customs, ideas, political, social, legal, religious, and artistic. Number 5, gestures and habits, often described in non-cultural language. Contract universal, i.e. general aspects of nature and humans and their physical and mental activities, numbers, and dimensions. Distinguish cultural focus, distance or gap, and overlap. B. Frame of reference, contextual factors. Number 1, purpose of text. Number 2, motivation and cultural, technical and linguistic level of leadership. Number 3, importance of reference in SL text. Number 4. Setting. Does recognized translation usage. Number 5. Recency of word or reference. Number 6. Future of reference. And then translation procedures. Number 1. Transference. Number 2. Cultural equivalent. Number 3. Neutralization. AE functional or descriptive equivalent. Number 4. Literal translation. Number 5. Label. Number 6. Naturalization. Number 7. Componential analysis. Number 8. Deletion of redundant stratus of language in non-authoritative text, especially metaphors and ementifiers. Number 9. Complete. Number 10. Accepted standard translation. Number 11. Paraphrase, clause, notice, etc. And then number 12. Classifiers.
Next, social organization, political and administrative. The political and social life of a country is reflected in its international term, where the title of head of state or the name of a parliament are transparent. That is made up of international or easily translated verb. They are true translate. Historical term. Up to now, I have been discussing the translation of modern institutional term in academic texts and education and educate writing. They are usually transferred with where appropriate a functional or descriptive term with as much descriptive detail as is required in popular text. The transferred word can be replaced by the functional or descriptive term. International term. International intention terms usually have recognized translation, which are factory translation and are now generally known by their acronym. Religious term. In religious language, the proselyting activities of Christianity, particularly the Catholic Church and the Baptists, are reflected in manifold translation. The language of the word religion tends to be transferred when it becomes TL interest, the commonest word being naturalist. Artistic term. The translation of artistic term referring to movement, process and organizations generally depend on the putative knowledge of the leadership. For education, leader opaque names such as the Leipzig Gewardius and the Amsterdam Concertgebouw are transferred. The Dresden staple hovers between transfer and state orchestra.